If you want it badly enough, you'll stop waiting and start building. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Are you tired of feeling like your goals are always one step ahead of you? Like no matter how hard you try, you're just not getting closer to the life you want. You're not alone. Many people stay stuck, not because they don't care, but because they haven't been given the right tools or mindset. The truth is, you can get what you want. Whatever it is, if you're willing to commit, stay focused, and do the work every day. It's not about being perfect, it's about being honest with yourself. Cutting out the noise and pushing forward even when it's uncomfortable. This journey isn't easy, but it's worth it. And once you learn the principles that actually work, you won't need motivation. You'll have momentum. You're here for a reason. So take this moment seriously. This could be the beginning of a different life. One that you create on your terms. Number 1. Define exactly what you want with full certainty. If you truly want to get whatever you want in life, the very first thing you must do is define exactly what that is with full certainty. Not halfway, not maybe, not someday. You must get to a point where you can say clearly and confidently, this is what I want. And I mean that with every part of your being. Because you cannot chase something vague. You cannot fight for a life you haven't taken the time to fully describe. You cannot commit to a dream you're unsure about. And most of all, you cannot expect the world to give you what you want if you haven't decided what that is for yourself. Most people never get what they want because they never decide what they want. They drift, they guess. They go through life reacting to everything instead of creating a life worth living. And it's not because they're lazy, it's because they never sat down in silence and got honest about what matters to them. That silence is hard. That self-reflection is uncomfortable, but it's necessary. When you define what you want with full certainty, you're making a decision that shapes your future. You're not just wishing anymore. You're not just hoping. You're deciding. And a real decision means cutting off everything that doesn't lead to that outcome. A real decision clears the path. It doesn't add to your confusion. It brings clarity. So how do you get to that kind of certainty? You ask yourself the real questions. What do I want to wake up to every morning? What kind of work would make me proud? What kind of relationships would fill me with peace? What does success look like for me? Not for anyone else, but for me. What kind of person do I want to become? And don't answer to impress people. Don't answer based on what the world says you should want. Be real with yourself. Because this is your life. You don't get to live it twice. And you don't owe anybody your future. You owe yourself the truth. This is where so many people go wrong. They look for approval instead of answers. They follow trends instead of their heart. And years go by. Years of doing what they never wanted. Years of saying yes to things that drained them. Years of silencing that inner voice that's been quietly asking for more. But you don't have to keep doing that. You can pause. You can sit still. You can ask yourself, what do I really want? And you can answer that question without shame, without guilt, without fear of what others might think. Because when you know what you want truly and completely, you become powerful. You stop chasing everything, and you start building something. Certainty is power. When you walk into a room and you know what you're after, you carry yourself differently. When you wake up and your day has purpose, you move differently. You stop wasting time. You stop being confused. You stop letting fear make your decisions. So define it. Define your life. Define your future. Don't settle for vague hopes. Make it clear. Put it into words. Write it down. Speak it out loud. And be honest enough to say, this is what I want, and I will give everything I have to make it real. If you want success, define what that means to you. If you want freedom, decide what that looks like in your life. If you want love, define the kind of love you are ready to give and receive. Because everything you want starts with a clear decision. People often say, I just want to be happy. But happiness is not a goal, it's a result. And it comes from living in alignment with what matters to you. So what matters to you? What are you willing to fight for? What would make you feel alive? You can't skip this step. You can't build a meaningful life on confusion. You need clarity. Because when you're clear, you'll start to see what fits and what doesn't. You'll start to notice which choices bring you closer to your goal, and which ones pull you away from it. You'll stop entertaining distractions. You'll stop letting fear dictate your path. There's something powerful that happens when a person gets clear. You don't need permission anymore. You don't need motivation every day. You wake up with a sense of direction. You wake up knowing what matters. And that gives you strength that most people never experience. The strength that comes from purpose. Now, getting to this level of certainty takes effort. You've got to dig deep. You've got to sit with the discomfort of not knowing for a while. You've got to challenge what you've been taught. You've got to be willing to admit when your old dreams no longer fit. But it's worth it. Because once you define what you want with full certainty, everything changes. You stop being overwhelmed. You stop being scattered. You stop letting the noise around you drown out your truth. And you start becoming someone who can actually achieve what they set out to do. You start building habits that support your goal. You start surrounding yourself with people who believe in that vision. You start making choices that reflect that purpose. And before long, you're not just thinking about what you want, you're living it. But none of that begins without clarity, without definition, without certainty. So take the time, be honest, be specific, be bold enough to say, this is what I want, and I'm not going to spend another year drifting away from it. You have that power. You have the ability to choose. You can define your life instead of letting life define you. And when you do, you'll start to realize just how much control you actually have. Your job is not to wait for life to hand you something. Your job is to decide what matters and start building it brick by brick. And that all begins with a decision made in truth and backed by certainty. So if you want to get whatever you want, start here. Decide, define it, be clear, be honest, be real, and then commit to that vision with everything you have. Number 2, burn every distraction that steals your inner focus. If you truly want to get whatever you want, you must burn every distraction that steals your inner focus. Not manage it, not organize it, not learn to live with it. You must remove it completely. Cut it out like it does not belong. Because it doesn't. Anything that weakens your attention is working against your future. Anything that interrupts your growth is standing in the way of your potential. And if you're serious about building a life of meaning, you have to treat distractions as enemies to that mission. We live in a world that profits from your attention. Every sound, every screen, every unnecessary conversation is designed to pull you away from yourself. It trains you to chase noise. It trains you to be entertained instead of being committed. And over time, you begin to forget what silence feels like. You forget how to concentrate. You forget how to go deep. But the results you're chasing in life, they live in depth. They live in the space where your mind is locked in, where you're present, where you're sharp. Distraction doesn't always look dangerous, but it always costs something. It steals your time. It weakens your discipline. It breaks your rhythm. And what's worse, it feels normal. It's easy to get used to being pulled in 10 directions. It's easy to accept that focus is impossible in this generation. But that belief is exactly what's holding people back. It is not true. Focus is still possible. It's still powerful. But now it requires a stronger commitment than ever before. If something distracts you from your purpose, it is not harmless. If it takes you away from your goals, even for a moment, it needs to be questioned. You've got to become the kind of person who protects their focus like it's a lifeline. Because it is. Your future depends on how deeply you can commit your energy to the things that matter most. That kind of energy doesn't happen by accident. It happens through intention, through decision, through elimination. Start by looking at your life honestly. Ask yourself what takes your attention without giving anything meaningful back. Is it the endless scrolling? Is it mindless entertainment? Is it people who talk about everything except growth? Is it the fear of missing out that keeps you jumping from one thing to another? Identify it. Call it out. Name it for what it is. Because if you don't name the problem, you'll never fix it. Then make it a rule, not a suggestion, not an option. A rule. If something does not help you move forward, it does not belong in your space. Period. Don't negotiate with it. Don't try to control it. Remove it. Replace it with time spent on your priorities. Replace it with learning, with building, with moving forward. Some people say they want focus, but they keep everything that causes distraction right next to them. They leave the door open and wonder why they keep getting pulled away. It's not enough to want it. You have to structure your environment around it. That means setting up your space so it supports deep work. That means keeping your phone away when you're working on something important. That means saying no to interruptions. That means keeping your life clean from noise. Focus is a habit. It gets stronger the more you practice it. But distraction is also a habit. And if you've been feeding it for years, you'll have to break that cycle consciously. That's not easy, but it is necessary. And every time you resist a distraction, you train yourself to become mentally tougher. Every time you stay with the task instead of checking out, you build a level of self-respect that changes how you see yourself. Discipline starts to grow. Your confidence grows with it. And suddenly you're not just busy. You're effective. You're not just working. You're progressing. You're not just showing up. You're moving closer to what you said you wanted. You'll notice something else happen too. The more you eliminate distractions, the more you get to know yourself. Because silence reveals things. When you're not filling every empty second with noise, your mind starts to settle. You start to hear the thoughts that matter. You start to feel what you've been avoiding. You begin to reconnect with your reasons, your standards, your drive. That connection is where your energy comes from. That's the fire that makes real effort possible. But if you're constantly distracted, you stay shallow. You stay busy but unfocused. You stay active but unproductive. And that becomes your norm. You check 100 things off your list and still feel empty. Because movement without direction doesn't lead to meaning. It just drains you. So if you're serious about building a life that reflects your true potential, remove the things that weaken your focus. Be ruthless. Not cruel but clear. There's a difference. Some things are simply not compatible with the life you're trying to build. And if you keep making space for them, they will crowd out your ability to rise. They will dilute your energy. And over time you'll forget what focus even felt like. You cannot give your best to anything if your mind is scattered. You cannot build a future if you're always reacting to distractions. You have to take control of where your attention goes. That means deciding what matters, and then organizing your life around it. Look at how you spend your time. Audit. Study it. Do you spend more time consuming than creating? Do you spend more time responding than initiating? If so, you're not in control. And if you're not in control, you're drifting. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be intentional. Start with small changes. Block out time where nothing else is allowed but the work that matters. Make your space quiet. Keep your phone away. Turn off what doesn't serve you. Build routines that anchor your mind. Set boundaries with people who drain you. Protect your morning. Guard your evenings. Choose your inputs wisely. And most importantly, remind yourself often why it matters. When you forget your why, distractions become tempting again. But when you remember what's at stake, when you remember who you're becoming, staying focused becomes an act of loyalty to yourself. That's where your strength is. That's where your results live. That's where your future is waiting. But it will not meet you in a distracted state. It will not come to you while you're chasing everything at once. It will only meet you when you become clear, locked in and committed with everything you have. Burn the distractions, not to punish yourself, but to free yourself, to rise, to grow, to step into a life where your actions match your vision. This is not just about productivity. This is about power. The power to give your full energy to what matters most. The power to take your time back. The power to take control of your own mind. Number 3. Choose one clear path and give it everything daily. When you decide to pursue a goal, it's essential to choose a single clear path and commit to it with everything you have, every single day. Too many people try to spread themselves thin, dabbling in multiple directions, unsure of what they truly want. They end up with scattered efforts, never able to focus enough to make real progress in any area. But if you want to achieve anything substantial, you must choose one path, one goal, and pour all your energy into it without hesitation. This is not about making the easy choice. It's about making the right choice. This is about clarity, commitment, and action. The first step to giving everything you have is defining your path clearly. You need to know exactly what it is you're working towards. A clear vision of your destination is crucial for keeping your focus and guiding your efforts. Without a defined goal, you're just wandering, and you're likely to waste time, energy, and resources on activities that don't bring you closer to where you want to be. Take time to carefully think about what you want, not what others want for you, or what seems popular at the moment. Your goal should align with your passions, your values, and your purpose. It should excite you, challenge you, and drive you forward. Once you have that clarity, commit to it fully. Every day you need to remind yourself of this commitment. There will be distractions and temptations to deviate from your path. You will face moments of doubt and uncertainty, and others may try to steer you in different directions. But the key to success is to stay focused. The most successful people in the world didn't achieve greatness by splitting their attention between 1,000 things. They achieved success by honing in on one thing, mastering it, and making consistent progress every single day. This is the power of focus. To give your path everything you have, it's important to create a daily routine that supports this commitment. A routine is the structure that allows you to focus all your energy on what matters most. It's easy to get lost in the noise of everyday life, to get swept up in tasks that don't align with your goal, but a daily routine keeps you on track, ensuring that every day you're taking actions that move you closer to where you want to go. It's about developing the discipline to prioritize your goal over short-term pleasures, distractions, or temporary discomforts. Consistency is the key to progress. It's easy to get excited at the beginning of a journey, but what matters most is what you do every day after the initial excitement fades. The actions you take on a daily basis, no matter how small, are what will compound and ultimately lead you to success. This requires patience, persistence, and resilience. The road to success is rarely a straight line. It's full of obstacles, challenges, and setbacks. But if you've chosen your path and committed to giving it everything you've got, you'll push through these challenges. Each obstacle becomes an opportunity to grow stronger, to learn, and to get closer to your goal. One of the greatest obstacles you'll face is the temptation to quit when things get tough. This is where many people fail. They start strong, full of enthusiasm, but when they face challenges or don't see immediate results, they give up. They think their effort wasn't worth it, or they convince themselves that they've made a mistake. The truth is, the moments when you feel like quitting are often the moments that matter most. They're the moments that define you. If you choose to press forward, even when it feels like everything is against you, that's when you'll start to see the rewards of your hard work. It's not about avoiding challenges, it's about pushing through them to stay committed to your path. You also need to keep a clear sense of purpose. Your why, your reason for pursuing this goal, should be the driving force behind everything you do. Whenever you face doubt or difficulty, reconnect with your why. Why did you choose this path in the first place? What do you want to accomplish, and what will it mean for your life? Your purpose will be the fuel that keeps your fire burning, even when things get hard. If you lose sight of your purpose, it becomes much easier to get distracted, to take the easy route, or to quit altogether. In addition to focusing on your own commitment, it's important to surround yourself with the right people. The people you associate with will either fuel your drive or drain your energy. Choose to surround yourself with individuals who support your goals and who will challenge you to push further. Find people who inspire you, people who are also committed to growth and improvement. Your environment plays a huge role in your ability to stay on track. If you're surrounded by negativity, doubt, or people who aren't serious about their own goals, it will be much harder for you to stay focused on your own path. Every day that you choose to stay committed to your path, you build momentum. It's the small, consistent actions that add up to big results. Don't underestimate the power of daily effort. Even on days when it feels like you're not making any progress, you're still moving forward. Over time, those small steps add up, and you'll look back and see how far you've come. This is why it's so important to give everything you have every day, even when you don't see immediate results. Trust the process. Trust that your daily effort will compound into the success you desire. It's also important to recognize that choosing one clear path doesn't mean that it will be easy. The path you choose will require sacrifice. You may have to let go of things that no longer serve you, habits, relationships, or even hobbies that are keeping you from focusing on your goal. This is where discipline comes in. Discipline is about making the tough decisions that will help you move closer to your dream, even when it's difficult or uncomfortable. It's about being willing to do what others aren't willing to do in order to achieve the success others only dream of. This is how you separate yourself from the crowd. In the end, the most successful people are those who choose one clear path and dedicate themselves to it. They don't waste time bouncing between different options. They don't get distracted by the latest shiny object or the next big thing. They know exactly what they want, and they give it everything they've got. This kind of commitment is what leads to extraordinary results. So if you want to achieve something great, start by choosing one path and giving it everything you've got. Make it the focus of your life. Do it every day without fail. Remind yourself constantly of why you're doing it, and never let anything pull you off course. You don't need to be perfect, and you don't need to have all the answers. What you need is commitment, focus, and daily action. Stick to your path, and success will follow. Number 4. Push forward, even when everything inside says stop. There will be moments in your journey when every part of you screams to stop. It's natural to feel like you can't go any further. Your body aches, your mind is exhausted, and your spirit feels drained. The temptation to quit is strong. You'll tell yourself, I've given enough, or this is too hard. But if you're going to get what you want, if you're going to reach that destination that you've envisioned so clearly, you have to push forward in those moments, even when everything inside you says stop. Success isn't determined by how many times you feel great or motivated. It's determined by what you do when the going gets tough. Everyone can move forward when things are easy. It's when life challenges you that your true strength, resilience, and character are tested. When it feels like the whole world is telling you to quit, that's when you must push hardest. And when you push through, that's when you'll grow. That's when the magic happens. The discomfort you feel when you want to quit is a sign that you are moving beyond your limits. It's a sign that you're growing, that you're on the edge of something new, something better. The pain, the exhaustion, the mental struggle, it's all a part of the process. When you push forward through these moments, you build resilience. You prove to yourself that you are stronger than the temporary discomfort, stronger than the fear, stronger than the doubts. You become someone who doesn't break. No matter what life throws your way, it's easy to feel overwhelmed when you face difficult challenges. The mind can become clouded with thoughts of failure or the belief that you're not enough. But you have to remember, the thoughts you have in those moments are not the truth. They are just temporary feelings that will pass once you take action. You see, action is the antidote to doubt. When you push through the doubt and keep moving forward, you prove to yourself that you are in control. The more you keep going, even when it feels impossible, the stronger your mind becomes, and the clearer your vision of success becomes. Every successful person you admire has faced these moments. They've felt the temptation to stop, to give in to fear, or to surrender to exhaustion. But what separates them from the rest is their ability to push forward when everything inside tells them to quit. They learned early on that success isn't about feeling great or being motivated all the time. It's about having the strength to do what you need to do, even when you don't feel like it. When you're in the middle of struggle, it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture. Your goal may seem distant, and the obstacles in front of you may seem insurmountable. But you have to remind yourself that every step forward, no matter how small, is a step closer to your goal. The key is consistency. It's not about one big leap forward. It's about the little things you do every day that compound over time. The only way you will get to where you want to be is by continuing to put one foot in front of the other, even when you feel like stopping. If you've ever had a moment where you were about to give up, but somehow found the strength to push on, you know exactly how powerful that feeling is. It's the feeling of overcoming yourself. It's the feeling of knowing that you didn't let your fear, exhaustion, or doubts control you. In those moments, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than anything that tries to hold you back. And with each victory, no matter how small, you build confidence in your ability to push through anything. One of the most important things to remember when you feel like quitting is to connect with your why. Why did you start this journey in the first place? What is it that you truly want? Your why is the driving force that will keep you going when your mind and body want to give up. Reconnect with your purpose, your passion, your reason for doing this, and let it pull you through the difficult times. Your why will always be stronger than your doubts. It will always push you forward when you think you have nothing left. You also need to understand that failure is not the end, it's part of the process. Every successful person has faced setbacks, failures, and disappointments, but they didn't let those moments define them. They didn't let those moments make them stop. Instead, they used those failures as stepping stones, as lessons that guided them on their journey. When you push forward through the pain and setbacks, you don't just move closer to your goal, you also grow as a person. You develop a level of grit and perseverance that will serve you for the rest of your life. The next time you face a challenge, you'll be better equipped to handle it. One of the most powerful ways to keep pushing forward is to focus on what you can control. In moments of doubt and frustration, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by everything that's out of your control. But you have to remind yourself that you have the power to control your actions. You can control how much effort you put into the task at hand. You can control your attitude, your mindset, and your work ethic. You can control your willingness to push through the pain, to stay disciplined, and to keep going when everyone else is giving up. Focus on what you can do, and do it with everything you have. You will have days when it feels like nothing is going your way. There will be days when you feel like you've hit a wall, and there's no way forward. But those days are not the end. They're part of the journey. They're the moments that challenge you, that test you, and that make you stronger. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is simple. The ones who succeed don't stop. They keep pushing forward, even when everything inside says to stop. They understand that the greatest rewards come from overcoming the hardest struggles. It's easy to stop when things get tough. It's easy to give up and move on to something else. But remember that everything you want is on the other side of those challenges. Success requires sacrifice, resilience, and an unshakable determination to keep going. No matter what, you have the power to push through any obstacle. You have the strength to move forward, even when everything inside you says stop. All it takes is the decision to keep going. And once you make that decision, you'll be unstoppable. So when you reach that moment when you feel like quitting, take a deep breath and push through. Keep moving forward, even if it's just one small step at a time. Remember your why, trust the process, and know that every step brings you closer to your goal. You're stronger than you think, and you have everything inside you to push through any obstacle. Keep going, don't stop. Your success is waiting on the other side.
Number 5. Build the habits that make your goal inevitable. Building habits is the most powerful thing you can do for your goals. It's not about just wishing for success or setting vague intentions. It's about creating a system of daily actions that propel you forward, one small step at a time. The secret to achieving your goals isn't in waiting for motivation to strike or hoping that things will magically align. It's in the daily habits you build that make your success inevitable. When you think about success, it's easy to get overwhelmed by the end goal, but you can't reach your destination in one giant leap. Success is achieved by taking small, deliberate actions each day, actions that align with the person you need to become to reach that goal. These actions, if done consistently, will compound over time. And before you know it, you'll look back and realize you've achieved what once seemed impossible. The key to getting there is building habits that make progress automatic. Start by asking yourself what kind of person you need to become to reach your goal. What kind of habits does that person have? What does their daily routine look like? Once you understand this, the next step is to take deliberate action to align your current habits with the habits of that future person. It's not enough to just think about your goal. You must act in a way that makes achieving that goal inevitable. And that starts with making sure every single day you're taking actions that move you closer. You see, your habits shape who you are. They define your character, your mindset, and your level of discipline. If you want to reach a big goal, you need to commit to building habits that push you toward that goal every single day. If you are consistent, those habits become automatic, and they don't require willpower anymore. They're simply part of who you are. The first step in building effective habits is understanding that small actions done consistently create massive results. It's the daily, consistent effort that will get you where you want to go,
not the bursts of energy or motivation you might feel on a good day. Motivation is fleeting, but the discipline to show up every single day, no matter how you feel, will move mountains. So, commit to showing up, commit to putting in the effort every day, even if it's just a little bit. The habits you build need to be linked to your ultimate goals. If you want to become healthier, your habits should revolve around eating well, exercising regularly, and getting enough rest. If you want to be more successful in your career, your habits should include daily learning, improving your skills, networking, and staying productive. Every single habit you build needs to push you in the direction of your goals. But here's the catch. Habits take time to build. They don't happen overnight, and they don't happen by accident. You need to be deliberate about the habits you create and work on them every day. Start by focusing on one habit at a time. Trying to overhaul your entire routine at once is overwhelming and unrealistic. Instead, pick one thing you can start with. Maybe it's waking up earlier, exercising every day, reading for 30 minutes, or tracking your goals every morning. Once you commit to one habit, work on it until it becomes second nature. It might take a few weeks, it might take a few months, but it will happen if you stay consistent. When you have that habit down, add another. Eventually, you'll have a whole set of habits that will carry you to your goals without even thinking about it. One of the biggest barriers to building lasting habits is the tendency to want instant results. You'll want to see immediate progress, but habits work differently. It's about the long game. It's about doing the right thing day in and day out, even when you don't feel like it, even when the results aren't immediately visible. It's the compounding effect of consistency that pays off over time. Trust the process. Trust that every small action you take is leading you toward your goal, even if it doesn't seem like it right now. It's also important to build habits that are sustainable. If you try to push yourself too hard at the beginning, you'll burn out quickly. The best way to build a habit that lasts is to start small and gradually increase your commitment over time. This makes the process feel manageable, and it allows you to build momentum. It's the small, consistent actions that compound into success, not drastic changes that you can't maintain. The key to building habits that last is consistency. Start small and stay consistent. Tracking your progress is another important part of building habits. When you track your actions, you create accountability. You make it harder to skip a day because you can see exactly where you stand. Progress gives you momentum. You'll start to see the results of your hard work, and that's motivating. Even on the days when you feel discouraged, seeing that you've made progress will give you the energy to keep going. It's also important to recognize that failure is part of the process. You will miss a day here or there. You will fall off track. But that doesn't mean you've failed. It just means you need to get back up and keep going. The most successful people are not the ones who never fall. They are the ones who get back up and keep going, no matter how many times they stumble. Another critical factor in building habits is accountability. Find someone who will hold you accountable for your progress. It could be a friend, a coach, or even a mentor. When you tell someone else about your goals and the habits you're trying to build, you create an external source of motivation. They'll check in with you, ask how you're doing, and offer support. This added layer of accountability can be the difference between success and failure. You'll be more motivated to stick to your habits when someone else is counting on you to follow through. As you work on building habits, it's important to celebrate your small wins. Each day that you stick to your habits is a victory. Acknowledge the progress you've made. Celebrate your discipline. The small wins give you the confidence to keep going, and they remind you that you're moving in the right direction. The most important thing to remember is that your habits are the foundation for everything you want. Without habits that support your goals, you'll constantly feel like you're chasing after something without making any real progress. But with the right habits in place, you will make your success inevitable. So commit to building those habits. Start small, stay consistent, and before you know it, your goals will no longer be something you're working toward. They'll be the life you're living every day. Your habits will make your success inevitable. It's that simple.
Number 6. Face your fears until they have no power. Fear is something that every one of us faces. It's an emotion so deeply ingrained in us that it often controls our decisions and actions. But here's the truth. Fear only has the power you allow it to have. If you let it control you, fear will keep you stuck in your comfort zone, prevent you from taking risks,
and stop you from achieving everything you want in life. But if you face that fear head on, it loses its power. It becomes just a passing feeling that doesn't define you or your path. The first thing you need to understand about fear is that it's natural. Every person experiences it. It's part of being human. But too often, we let fear control our lives, rather than recognizing that we have the power to control it. Fear might make you feel uncomfortable, and it might make you hesitate, but it can never stop you from moving forward unless you give it that power. The key to conquering fear isn't about avoiding it or hoping it goes away. It's about facing it, standing up to it, and continuing to move forward despite it. The process of facing fear is gradual. It's not about taking huge leaps or doing something monumental right away. It starts with the small, uncomfortable things. Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting, taking on a challenging project, or reaching out to someone you admire. Whatever it is, start small. When you face the things that make you uncomfortable, you're teaching yourself that fear doesn't have to control you. Every time you push through the discomfort, fear loses a little more of its grip on you. The biggest mistake most people make is trying to avoid fear altogether. They see it as something that should be avoided at all costs. They think if they can just avoid fear, they'll be comfortable and happy. But in reality, avoiding fear is what keeps you stuck. When you avoid the things that scare you, you're also avoiding growth, opportunity, and the potential to reach your highest goals. Growth happens outside your comfort zone, in those moments when you face the things that scare you the most. So stop avoiding fear and start leaning into it. Another important aspect of facing fear is recognizing that it's often much smaller than it seems. We build up fear in our minds, and it grows to a point where it seems insurmountable. But when you finally face it, you'll realize that it wasn't as big or as dangerous as you thought. Most of the time, the fear you feel is based on thoughts, assumptions, and uncertainties that aren't real. Once you take action and face that fear, you begin to see things clearly, and the fear shrinks in size. It's only when you let fear control you that it seems overwhelming. To face your fears effectively, you need to shift your mindset. Instead of seeing fear as something negative, view it as a signal that you're on the right path. Fear is not a sign to stop. It's a sign that you're pushing your boundaries, that you're stepping outside your comfort zone, and that you're doing something that matters. The more you reframe fear in this way, the less power it has over you. Every time you feel afraid, you can remind yourself that fear means you're growing and evolving. As you begin to face your fears, you'll notice that the more you do it, the easier it becomes. The fear doesn't go away entirely, but it becomes more manageable. Over time, you'll build a resilience to it. Instead of shrinking away from challenges, you'll embrace them. You'll see obstacles as opportunities for growth. The more you push through fear, the stronger you become in your ability to face even bigger challenges down the road. Your confidence will increase, and your belief in yourself will grow stronger with each step. One powerful technique for facing fear is visualization. Imagine yourself doing the thing that scares you. Picture yourself overcoming the fear and succeeding. Visualization trains your mind to see success instead of failure, and it helps you prepare mentally for what's to come. The more vividly you can imagine yourself facing your fears and succeeding, the more likely you are to take the action needed to make it happen. Visualization helps you shift your focus from the fear itself to the potential for success. Another technique is exposure. This means putting yourself in situations where you can confront your fears in a controlled way. For example, if you're afraid of public speaking, start by speaking in front of a small group, then gradually increase the size of your audience. Each time you do this, you'll build more confidence and desensitize yourself to the fear. The more you expose yourself to the things that scare you, the less power they have over you. Exposure helps you realize that fear is often just a feeling, not a fact, and it teaches you that you can handle whatever comes your way. It's also important to have a support system when facing fear. While it's essential to face your fears on your own, having people who encourage and believe in you can make a huge difference. Surround yourself with individuals who uplift you, push you, and help you stay motivated. They can remind you of your strengths when you feel like giving up. A strong support system can help you keep moving forward, especially when fear tries to pull you back. Another vital part of facing fear is self-compassion. When you face your fears, you're bound to make mistakes and experience setbacks. You'll stumble, and you might fall. But that's okay. It's part of the process. The key is not to let failure stop you. Instead, treat yourself with kindness and compassion. Recognize that each failure is a lesson, and use it as a stepping stone toward your success. Don't let fear of failure prevent you from trying again. Ultimately, facing your fears is about taking control of your life. When you allow fear to dictate your actions, you give up your power. But when you choose to face your fears, you take that power back. You prove to yourself that you are stronger than any fear. You show yourself that you can do hard things, and that is the foundation of all success. When you face your fears and continue moving forward, you create the kind of life you've always wanted. A life full of confidence, courage, and the belief that nothing can stop you. It's time to stop letting fear control you. It's time to stop letting fear dictate your actions, your choices, and your life. When you face your fears until they have no power, you open up a world of possibilities. You begin to see that you are capable of achieving anything you set your mind to. Fear is just a feeling. It's not a barrier, and it's not a wall. It's simply a signal that you're on the verge of something great. Embrace it, face it, and take action. No matter how small, every single day. Before long, you'll look back and realize that fear was never the thing holding you back. It was your willingness to face it that allowed you to reach your greatest potential. Number 7. Force your actions to match your deepest desires. To get whatever you want in life, you have to force your actions to match your deepest desires. It's one thing to dream, it's another thing entirely to align your daily efforts with what you truly want. And while it's easy to wish for success, it's another thing to build the habits and actions that will make that success inevitable. Too many people have desires that live only in their minds. They want a better life, they want to be healthier, they want financial freedom, but their actions don't reflect those desires. They are busy doing things that have nothing to do with the life they claim to want. They are trapped in patterns of inaction or unproductive behaviors, and the gap between what they desire and what they do keeps growing wider. If you want to close that gap, you have to start forcing your actions to align with your deepest goals. Not just when it's convenient, but every day. Without exception, you have to realize that desire alone is not enough. Wanting something isn't enough. Desires are powerful, but they are just the starting point. The energy that desire creates has to be channeled into purposeful action. You have to make decisions in alignment with your desires, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's hard, even when it's not the easiest thing to do in the moment. If you truly want what you say you want, then you must act as if that is the only option. Your deepest desires will not come to you on their own. If you want a body that's healthy, then your actions must reflect that. You can't eat poorly and expect health. You can't sleep for hours beyond what's necessary and expect to feel energized. You have to make decisions every day that take you closer to the outcome you want. This means making the difficult decision to act in ways that challenge your comfort zones. If your desires are real, your actions must reflect that truth. If you want a successful business, then you need to act like a successful business owner. You need to act like someone who is relentlessly focused on their work. You need to work when it's not easy, and stay disciplined even when things feel slow or hard. You can't be distracted by trivial matters. You can't procrastinate. You need to take daily steps to move forward, even if those steps feel small. Every choice you make should bring you closer to what you want. Even the smallest of actions matter. You can't wait for motivation. Motivation is fleeting, and it will not be there when you need it most. What you need is commitment. When your actions are forced to align with your deepest desires, motivation becomes irrelevant. Your commitment becomes the fuel that drives your actions. You act not because you feel like it, but because you know it's the only path to get what you want. You don't rely on emotions to dictate your actions. Your desires do. This is where discipline comes into play. Discipline is the bridge between your desires and your reality. It's what allows you to take consistent action regardless of how you feel. It's what forces you to get up and work when all you want to do is rest. It's the act of setting clear boundaries and creating an environment that reinforces the actions you need to take. Discipline is your best ally when it comes to matching your actions with your desires. But here's the truth. Forcing your actions to match your desires is not always going to be easy. There will be days when you don't feel like doing the work. There will be times when you want to quit, when you want to take shortcuts. But you have to remind yourself that your desires are not just nice to haves. They are non-negotiable if you truly want to live the life you've imagined. And if you want that life, you must act like it every single day. It's easy to get distracted. It's easy to justify lazy habits or unproductive actions. But this is the moment where you make the choice. Do you want to be the person who lets their desires remain distant fantasies? Or do you want to be the person who turns their desires into a concrete reality? The choice is yours. And remember, your desires are not abstract. They are not far-off goals. They are reflections of your true potential. The life you dream of is waiting for you to claim it, but only if you make your actions align with your goals. This is the key to manifestation, taking constant, deliberate action toward the future you want. The good news is that when your actions begin to match your deepest desires, you'll start to experience momentum. At first, it may feel like an uphill battle. It may feel like you're not making progress. But eventually that discipline, that commitment, that focus will create results. The momentum you build through consistent action will push you forward, and your desires will start to become a reality. But that can only happen if you're consistently forcing your actions to match the life you want. Every time you push through discomfort, every time you do what needs to be done regardless of how you feel, you reinforce your commitment. And the more you reinforce that commitment, the more your desires begin to take shape. Your goals become inevitable, not because the world will just hand them to you, but because you've made the conscious decision to work for them. Every single day, the power is in your hands. Your desires are not out of reach. They are waiting for you to take them seriously enough to make them a priority. You are capable of achieving everything you set out to do. But first you must align your actions with your desires. Every choice, every decision, every habit must reflect that commitment. Your life will change only when you commit to acting as though your desires are non-negotiable. You will not be distracted. You will not be deterred. You will not be stopped. So take a step today. Look at your desires, your goals, your dreams, and ask yourself, am I acting like someone who deserves this? Am I taking consistent action toward these dreams? Or am I waiting for them to come to me? If the answer is no, then today is the day to begin shifting that. Start now. Commit now. Act now. Because when you force your actions to match your deepest desires, you are no longer a passive participant in your life. You are the creator. You are the one who makes things happen. And with every action you take, you move closer to a life that reflects who you are at your deepest core. A life of purpose. A life of success. A life of fulfillment. All it takes is the decision to act. Now. Number 8. Protect your mind from doubt every single day. Doubt is one of the most destructive forces that can derail your progress. It creeps in quietly, subtly undermining everything you've worked for. It whispers that you're not good enough, that you're not capable, and that failure is inevitable. Doubt doesn't announce itself like a loud enemy. It comes in the form of small, seemingly innocent thoughts. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. What if I fail? Maybe this isn't meant to be. But if you let it take root, it grows, and it has the power to cripple your potential. To achieve your dreams and get whatever you want, you must protect your mind from doubt every single day. This isn't a one-time task or a lesson you learn once and forget about. This is a constant daily battle. The moment you let doubt infiltrate your mind, you start questioning your decisions, second-guessing your capabilities, and losing sight of the goals you've set for yourself. Think about this. Every time you entertain doubt, you are giving power to the very thing that can hold you back. The more you focus on the possibility of failure, the more real failure becomes. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. When doubt is allowed to grow unchecked, it creates hesitation, and hesitation breeds inaction. The biggest enemy of progress isn't failure, it's inaction, and doubt is the biggest catalyst for inaction. So what can you do? How can you prevent doubt from taking hold? The answer lies in your mindset. You have to be intentional about what you allow to enter your mind. You must build mental resilience and create a protective barrier against negativity. This isn't something that happens overnight. It's a habit you develop. You have to train yourself to reject doubt every time it appears. The stronger you get at rejecting it, the less impact it will have. The first step in protecting your mind from doubt is to recognize it. It often comes disguised as logic or caution. I need to be realistic. What if things don't go as planned? But in reality, this is just fear masquerading as caution. It's a trick your mind plays to keep you in your comfort zone. So when doubt appears, ask yourself, is this thought helping me move forward, or is it holding me back? If the answer is the latter, you need to dismiss it immediately. The next step is to replace doubt with certainty. Doubt thrives when there's room for uncertainty. But certainty is a powerful antidote. Certainty comes from belief, and belief comes from knowing that you have a purpose and a plan that's greater than any obstacle in front of you. To protect your mind from doubt, you need to surround yourself with reminders of why you're doing this. Every morning, remind yourself of your purpose. Write down your goals. Revisit your reasons for starting in the first place. When you make your purpose clear and vivid in your mind, doubt will have a harder time finding a foothold. Another powerful way to protect yourself from doubt is to stop seeking validation from others. Doubt often creeps in when you start to rely on external opinions to define your path. When you seek approval or validation from others, you're giving them power over your confidence and your progress. You must learn to trust your own judgment and inner guidance. Others may offer advice, but ultimately, you are the one who knows what's right for you. Protect your mind by blocking out external noise that doesn't serve your vision. Your environment plays a huge role in shaping your mindset. If you want to protect your mind from doubt, you must protect your environment. This means being selective about who you spend your time with. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who challenge you to grow, and who believe in your potential. Avoid those who constantly reinforce your fears or tell you what you can't do. The more you expose yourself to negativity, the more likely doubt will creep in. But when you surround yourself with positive, encouraging voices, you're building a defense against doubt. You also need to be intentional about what you consume, both mentally and physically. The books you read, the podcasts you listen to, the shows you watch, all of these contribute to your mental state. If you're constantly consuming content that reinforces doubt or negativity, you are feeding your mind with the very thing you're trying to avoid. Choose to fill your mind with content that motivates, inspires, and challenges you to grow. The more you feed your mind with positive, empowering messages, the less room there will be for doubt to take root. One of the most important ways to protect your mind from doubt is to build a habit of action. Action destroys doubt. Number 9. Work through pain until progress becomes your nature. Progress isn't always a smooth, easy journey. If it were, everyone would be successful. Everyone would achieve their dreams without much effort. But success is not for the faint of heart. Success requires resilience, and resilience is built through working through pain. Pain is a natural part of the process. It's what challenges us. It's what tests our resolve. It's what pushes us beyond our limits and forces us to grow. But here's the key. You have to work through the pain. You have to endure it, push through it, and keep moving forward until progress becomes your natural state of being. This is where many people fall short. They experience discomfort, frustration, or failure, and they stop. They let the pain of the moment dictate their actions. But pain is a temporary feeling. The progress you make by working through it will stay with you forever. If you're going to achieve your goals, if you're going to create the life you want, you cannot allow pain to stop you. You must learn to work through it until it no longer holds any power over you. Pain, in this context, is not just physical. It can be mental, emotional, or even spiritual. It could be the pain of rejection, the frustration of slow progress, or the weight of self-doubt. But no matter what form it takes, pain is an inevitable part of the journey. It's part of the process that leads to growth. And growth, as uncomfortable as it may be, is the foundation of progress. Every time you push through pain, you become stronger, more capable, and more prepared for what's ahead. The key to making progress your nature is developing the ability to endure and work through pain without being consumed by it. You can't let the discomfort of the moment dictate your decisions. You can't let the challenges you face become excuses to quit. If you want to achieve anything meaningful in life, you have to train yourself to endure the hardships and to keep moving forward, no matter what. One of the biggest misconceptions people have is that successful people never experience pain or discomfort. In reality, The most successful individuals are often those who have endured the most hardship. They have faced rejection, failure, doubt, and struggle, but they've learned to use those experiences to fuel their progress rather than hold them back. They have built the mental toughness that allows them to work through pain until it no longer phases them. This is a skill that can be developed. It doesn't come naturally to everyone, but it can be cultivated through practice. It starts with understanding that pain is not your enemy. Pain is a signal. It's a signal that you're on the right track, that you're stretching yourself, and that you're moving beyond your comfort zone. The more you lean into that discomfort and work through it, the stronger and more resilient you become. Eventually, pain will lose its ability to stop you. The process begins with a shift in perspective. Instead of viewing pain as something to avoid, view it as something to embrace. See it as a sign of progress. Every time you push through pain, you are closer to becoming the person you need to be in order to achieve your goals. Whether it's a long workout that burns your muscles, a difficult conversation you've been avoiding, or a business decision that scares you, that pain is part of the growth process. It is preparing you for the success that lies ahead. And if you can make peace with it, you will find that it loses its grip on you. Next, you need to build the habit of persistence. Progress doesn't happen overnight. It's not an instant result. It's a gradual accumulation of effort over time. Each day that you continue to push forward, no matter how small the step, is a day that brings you closer to your goal. But this requires persistence. The willingness to keep going even when the pain feels unbearable. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is often the willingness to keep going when the going gets tough. If you can train yourself to push through pain and keep working, you will start to see the fruits of your labor. To truly make progress your nature, you need to make it part of your daily life. This means that every challenge, every obstacle, and every painful moment becomes an opportunity to grow. It's not just about enduring pain in isolated moments, but about developing the mental and emotional endurance to keep working through difficulty day in and day out. This kind of resilience becomes a part of who you are. It becomes your default setting, your natural way of operating in the world. And once it becomes ingrained in you, it becomes nearly impossible to stop. Sometimes, working through pain means making tough decisions. It means saying no to short-term comforts and pleasures in favor of long-term growth and success. It means choosing the hard work over the easy way out. It means saying yes to delayed gratification and no to instant relief. Every time you make the decision to push through the pain and keep working, you reinforce the habit of resilience. It becomes your nature to continue, to fight through adversity, and to keep going no matter what. Number 10. Refuse to settle until the result is real. When it comes to achieving your goals, there's one thing that separates those who succeed from those who fall short. The refusal to settling, is the silent killer of dreams. It's that moment when you accept less than what you deserve, when you accept the comfortable route, when you let the idea of good enough take the place of your pursuit of excellence. You have to refuse to settle. You have to commit to the process. Hold yourself accountable and demand real results, no matter how long it takes or how difficult the journey becomes. The danger of settling is that it's often disguised as progress. You start out with high expectations, and then as time goes by and challenges arise, you begin to lower your standards. You convince yourself that what you have right now is enough. You begin to tolerate mediocrity because it feels easier. But that's the trap. Settling always feels easier in the short term, but it robs you of the potential for greatness in the long term. Think about it. How often do you hear people say, "I'll just take this job for now," or "this is as good as it gets"? They're settling for something that isn't truly aligned with their dreams. They're settling because they're afraid of pushing forward, afraid of the unknown, or afraid of the work it takes to achieve something better. But when you settle, you stop growing. You stop striving. You lose the fire that drives you to push through the hard times. And ultimately, you lose your opportunity to create something extraordinary. Refusing to settle means holding yourself to the highest standard, regardless of how long it takes. It means rejecting the easy way out. It means not allowing yourself to accept anything less than what you've envisioned. When you refuse to settle, you make a decision to never stop pursuing your goal until it is real. You don't stop when things get hard. You don't stop when you experience failure. You don't stop when people doubt you or when you feel like giving up. You keep going until the result you desire is in your hands, until it is tangible, real, and undeniable. One of the hardest parts of this journey is recognizing when you're starting to settle. It's easy to deceive yourself into thinking you're making progress, when in fact you're merely marking time. You may find yourself doing things that feel like work, but they aren't taking you closer to your goals. You may convince yourself that you're being productive when you're actually just staying busy. Settling happens when you stop pushing for more, when you stop challenging yourself to do better, and when you stop pursuing the outcome that you truly want. The first step in refusing to settle is to get clear on what you want. What's your vision? What's the life you're aiming for? Without a clear picture of your desired outcome, it's easy to accept something less than that vision. You might find yourself drifting, taking whatever comes your way instead of relentlessly pursuing your true goal. So define exactly what you want and commit to it. Don't let distractions, setbacks, or self-doubt convince you that you don't deserve the life you're aiming for. You are capable of achieving it, but you have to refuse to settle for anything less. The second step is to create a plan that will get you there. Success isn't about hope or luck. It's about strategy, action, and relentless follow-through.